Hello, my name is Eric Sheely. My presentation is about the effect of urban sprawl on farmland in Longmont, Colorado. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about urban sprawl, what it is, and what its effects are on the planet. Urban sprawl is defined by Britannica as the rapid expansion of the geographic extent of cities and towns, often characterized by low density residential housing, single use zoning, and increased reliance on the private automobile for transportation. Urban sprawl has been linked to an increase in energy use, pollution, and traffic congestion. It also increases the urban footprint, which can be detrimental to wildlife habitat and agricultural grounds. This replacement of areas that have water absorbing vegetation and permeable soils with new development of impermeable surfaces made of concrete and asphalt can have consequences such as increased risks of flooding, pollution, and reduced water qualities. In the United States, urban sprawl is claiming 1.2 million acres of farmland per year, according to the National Geographic. Urban sprawl is not a new concept, and it isn't just an issue in the United States. Its effect can be seen globally. People are moving into cities everywhere. According to the United Nations, by the late 2000s, around 49% of the world's population lived in urban settings. In the United States, this number was about 81% as of 2007. Will urban sprawl spread so far that most people lose all touch with nature? Will the day come when the only bird a typical American child ever sees is a canary in a pet shop window? When the only wild animal he knows is a rat glimpsed on a night drive through some city slum? When the only tree he touches is the cleverly fabricated plastic evergreen that shades his gifts on Christmas morning? That's a quote by Frank K. Eichard, which I think really hits home and makes you think about the effects and the consequences of urban sprawl. Places like Egypt and China are also experienced increased populations in urban areas. This is not a stressor. This is not only a stressor on the environment, it is also creating issues in local food systems. Egypt is losing an average of 29,000 acres of agricultural land per year. At this rate, much of the arable land that will be at this rate, much of the arable land will be lost in the next decade. This loss of land forces many farmers to cultivate land on the edges and margins of the cities. These farmers are usually renting this land, which subjects them to being pushed out by soaring real estate values. Much of the development that is happening on these properties is informal, which means housing is being built without proper planning or permits. About 65% of Cairo's population currently live in this type of informal housing. China is also dealing with the consequences of urban sprawl. China is currently feeding their population, which is about 1/5 of the world's population, with only 7% of its arable land. Almost all land that was previously considered arable has been degraded by decades of unchecked urban sprawl. In the village of Nanzhuang, China, one of the largest airports in the world is being constructed. This is forever destroying miles of fertile agricultural land that this community relies on. This is an example of how urban growth can directly affect food security. Longmont, Colorado is located along the Front Range about 30 miles northwest of Denver. The city was founded in 1871 by a group of prominent men from Chicago. It was originally called the Chicago, Colorado Colony. The name was later changed to Longmont in honor of Long's Peak, which can be seen from the area. Early residents came for the fertile soil and endless sunshine that quickly produced excellent crops. The town became known for sugar beets, which thrived in the region. This agricultural growth led to agricultural business, and in 1872, the first flour mills were built. Then, in 1889, Emson Vegetable Cannery was opened. The last installment of the industry was in 1903 when the Great Western Sugar Company was founded and built in Longmont. This growth continued for almost a century until Cooner Emson and the Great Western Sugar Factory closed their facilities. In the 2000s, some agriculture has returned to the area in the form of organic farms as well as hemp and marijuana farms. Even with this growth, only 0.5% of the city population now works in agriculture, which is a stark contrast to 50 years ago when agriculture industry ruled the city. Since its inception, Longmont has always been a fast-growing community. In the period from 2000 to 2020, the population has grown over 39%. Longmont has turned into a high-tech hub instead of an agricultural community. Companies like Micron, Seagate, Avexis, Digital Globe, Xilinx, Medtronic, IBM, and many others call Longmont their home. Interestingly, Longmont has also resides in what is GIS Lounge has dubbed GIS Alley due to the large number of geodesy companies in the region. Beer has also been a large factor in the rapid growth of Longmont. A quick Google search will bring up over 10 breweries in the city and over 50 within a half an hour drive. This has not only created jobs for new residents, but also adds a large amount of money to the economy, which facilitates growth. The result of this economic boom has been the city of Longmont being continuously named one of the best places in America to live. And in 2019, Smart Asset declared it as the #1 boomtown in America. With growth comes problems, and it's no surprise that Longmont has seen a 20% increase in housing over the last few years. This expansion of homes has exploded into what were once rural farmland and has exploded in the form of large single-use subdivisions and apartment complexes. This has not only displaced farmers, but has also encroached into critical wildlife habitat. 2020 has seen a high number of human-wildlife interaction with bears and mountain lions in the city limits. The methodology that was used in this research ranged from using ArcPro to collecting data from various sources to doing literature reviews on similar research. The images you see were Landsat 7 or were created in ArcPro. The left top image is a Landsat 7 image from July 2002. The right top image is a Landsat 8 image from July 2019. Both maps below are land cover class maps that show land cover change during this period. You can clearly see a lot of change from 2002 to 2019 in all the maps. The bare soil class has an increase of over 120%, which I believe is also including concrete and asphalt. This is a massive increase and has had a direct effect on the loss of farmland in the city limits. This map was created from a series of maps in ArcPro. The NDVI Vegetation Index was compared from 2002 to 2019 to determine areas of large change. The areas highlighted in red show areas that have major change in vegetation. This correlates with the maps in the previous slide to show that the areas to the east and the southwest have gone through major transformation over the last 20 years. These are also the areas that have experienced the most growth and development. Much of the changed area was farmland not too long ago. Assessing the current growth trends seen in Longmont, it is expected that the remaining agricultural lands in the city limits will be lost to urban sprawl within the next few decades, if not sooner. Farming families like the Tanakas will be forced to sell their land due to exploding real estate markets and development. Hopefully, this will not affect the city of Longmont in the area of food security, though, due to the large amount of agricultural land to the east in Weld County. But only time will tell what the true costs of urban sprawl will be. Thank you very much. Have a nice night.